Hi, this is Miss Vazone, and this is Tuesday, September 23rd's lesson, factoring all types of polynomials. All right, so let's look at the first one. 18x squared plus 12x. How do you factor that? That, hopefully you know, is a GCF. What is the GCF of 18 and 12? 6. 18 comma 12. You divide by 6, you get 3 and 2. Nothing goes into those. So 6. And then what's the GCF of x and x squared? X. Remember, take the smaller exponent. Divide, and you get 3x plus 2. X divided by x cancels out. Parentheses, and put your 6x on the outside. What kind of factoring problem is this? This is GCF. GCF is usually a binomial, but it can be a trinomial. That's why it says usually. Has a common factor every single time. Coefficients, again, it's usually your not perfect squares. They can be. Sometimes I'm super mean, and I'll give you one. Like, for example, 4x squared minus 25x. That's an example of a perfect square, GCF with perfect squares. This one, I'm trying to be mean. Honestly, I'm being mean. X squared, and there's an x everywhere. So this is a GCF. So be careful there. All right, next type of factoring problem. I'm moving it right along. X squared minus 17x plus 30. This is the second type we learned. What type is this? This is your MC chart. This is your multiply combine chart. So we're multiplying to what number? 30. And we're combining to negative 17. Write down everything that multiplies to 30. 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, 4 doesn't work, and 5 and 6. Add across, and you get 31, 17, 13, and 11. But I'm looking for negative 13. So what do I do when the sign is wrong? Change the sign of everything. Negative 2 and negative 15. A negative times a negative gives you a positive. A negative plus a negative gives you a negative. So the answer is x minus 2, x minus 15. Okay? So that's an MC chart. How do we recognize MC chart? It's a trinomial. X squared does not have a coefficient. And also the highest power, I'm going to add in, the highest exponent is 2. If you have x to the third minus 2x minus 10, that's not an MC chart. This is not MC. All right? Because there's that 3 there, you can't do it. It doesn't work. Okay? All right. Next one. 169 minus 16x squared. What kind of factoring is this? It's a binomial. When you have a binomial, you have two types, either GCF or dots. Which one is this? This is dots. There's no common term. You can't divide 169 by anything that divides into 16. So this is a difference of two squares. So what's the square root of 169? 13. 13 and 13. What's the square root of 16x squared? 4x and 4x. One's plus, one's minus, and you're done. That's a dots problem. That's a dots problem. All right, so dots, difference of two squares. It's always a binomial. It's always a subtraction sign. And it's always coefficients or perfect squares. This one is the easiest to figure out usually because it's got no common terms. And there's really no like, well, sometimes. Honestly, it's either dots or it's not. Okay, so now let's do a few practice problems. All right, so pause the video and try these on your own. Right. X squared minus 36. What kind is that? This is a dots. All right, so number 1, I'll just put the answers on the side. Number 1, x squared minus 36. What's the square root of 36? 6. So it's x, 6, 6, 1's plus, 1's minus. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Number 2 was x squared minus x minus 20. What's the coefficient of that x? There's a 1 there. So this is a trinomial, nothing in front of x squared. That's your MC chart. Okay? All right, what multiplies to negative 20 and combines to negative 1? So basically, what multiplies to 20 and is consecutive next to each other, because they subtract 1? 4 and 5. So it's x minus 5, x plus 4. Right? Number 3, look, it's just like number 2. Okay, maybe it'd be helpful if you could see. Number 3, it's just like number 4. What's the square root of 64? 8. X plus 8, x minus 8. Okay. Number 4, 11x squared minus 99. Now this one's kind of a trick. What can you divide everything by? 11. It's a GCF with an 11. But when you divide by 11, what do you get? X squared minus 9. X squared minus 9 is factorable. That's a dots. So it's 11, and then you got to do the dots second. X plus 3, x minus 3. Okay? All right. Number 5 is the same type of problem. This is a GCF. Look, there's a number in front of x squared, but it's not, and 5 and 80 are not perfect squares. If you divide by 5, though, you get x squared minus 16. All right? So this is actually completely, which we're going to work on tomorrow. So you're going to put the 5, and then what's the square root of 16? 4. Okay. Number 6.